Hey everybody, I'm Tim Notier.
And I'm Marisa Notier.
And together we're Notier's Frontiers.
We've been on the road for the past 3 years, more than 3 years now.
August 21st, 2017.
And we ride a KTM 1190 and we ride 2-up. And today we'd like to talk to you about some of the advantages of riding 2-up.
So I think one of the first advantages for any long distance touring is the amount of gas money that we save. That's probably the most direct impact on our finances versus anybody as a couple riding on two separate bikes.
And it's not just gas, but along the way you're going to have to pay other things such as, getting new tires, bike repairs. When you enter into different countries, you often have to pay a temporary import permit tax. And that'll of course be double for each bike you bring in. So there are some financial advantages to only having one motorcycle.
We don't do it often, but shipping the bike from Canada to, it went via London to Cape Town. And we also had shipped the bike from Argentina back up to Chicago.
And then there's often lots of ferries you have to take along the way depending on where you're going and what you want to see. And so that can all add up. Another advantage is that if we go off-road or onto any technical terrain, I am able to get off the bike and push if we get into some really slippery mud and the back tires sliding all over the place.
And the inevitable when I do fall, which happens quite often in some of the scenarios that we find ourselves in. I always say it's amazing when you can pick up your own bike. And if you're going out there into the world all by yourself on your own, if you can't pick up your own bike, that surely can be, you put yourself in a bad situation. Now, most of the time you can unpack just about everything on your bike and get it to a point where you can lift it up. But I do think it's a dual for people riding 2-up or for others riding on their own bikes, on separate bikes. The other person can always hop off and help you pick it up.
Another thing that I think is really useful about being 2-up is that if we have a long day, it's been really tough, and we finally arrive at a campsite, for example, Tim will be exhausted. He's had to deal with all the potholes and traffic, and I've just been sitting there really enjoying myself listening to music all day. So I'm full of energy and I can really kind of take up the slack and get to work at setting up camp or whatever, and he can just sit back and relax. While he's riding, I have a lot of freedom on the back there. So I can actually, if we're in traffic and we've lost our way or we don't know where another gas station might be because one was closed, he doesn't have to pull over and re-navigate on his phone. I can pull out my phone and actually look up the next gas station really quick and help him navigate through the city like that.
Yeah, we have our Sena headsets, which I think, again, there's a lot of similarities between a husband and wife duo or good friends duo on two separate bikes that still apply when you're 2-up right behind each other. But Sena's communication is key. So if I pull up to a hotel and what I found on iOverlander, it isn't there because sometimes the coordinates are wrong, I can have my co-pilot behind me. I can chime into her and say, need new coordinates there, Cap, and she can twiddle around on the phone and redirect me. Another good thing about being 2-up, or at least being two people there, for us we find it very convenient to be able to pull over and someone can always stay with the motorcycle. Let it be at borders, right? Sometimes there's a lot of sketchy people that run up and surround you, and there's always the real nice gentleman that swears that he'll look after the bike just for, a couple dollars. But it always makes me feel better when Marisa can stay behind and then we just swap.
Since I'm able to look at the view while we're riding along and I don't have to keep focusing on the road ahead of me, I can also take pictures, I can take videos, I can be like, oh, look at that deer that you just missed. It's really nice to not have to constantly keep so focused on the road and have somebody there who's trying to look out for all those things that you may have missed.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I'm in tunnel vision, and you know, she's got the GoPro on the back. Sometimes she'll click the GoPro on my helmet, and you know, I get a whole nother view of what the rides we've just taken when she'll sometimes collaborate all the videos together in a little iMovie, you know, and make it, and I'll be like, oh my god, I didn't see that, or you know, it's like, you know, it's like I was right in front of her and I missed a lot of things that happened 15 degrees out of straight and narrow because we're, you know, going down difficult terrain. You know, and there's also just emotional support, and I guess that's also ties in if your spouse is on her own bike. I do look at these solo travelers sometimes, and I know that they're on a spiritual journey for themselves, by themselves, and that I really appreciate. But for me, man, am I glad that I have my wife there to speak with, to talk with, to share the experience with, to get through the struggles with, to enjoy the beauty even more with, you know, get to see it through her eyes as well. Thanks everybody. Hope you got a little bit of insight from us as well as everybody else on here. And
Thank you.
Indeed, I hope we see you on the road. Let it be on one bike or two bikes or two up. Enjoy, guys. Peace.
Bye.
Hello, I'm Ben King. You can find me online at The King on the Road. Today I'm going to give you the pros and cons to travelling as a solo male on a motorbike around the world. So I'm in the middle of my trip at the moment. I spent a couple of years riding from London to the China border with Pakistan, and then my visa expired, so I had to come home back to London to get a new visa. And then shortly after that, then the coronavirus happened, so I'm now stuck in London waiting for the border to reopen so I can finish my trip around the world. But I thought I'd just give you the advantages and disadvantages to travelling as a solo male. Travelling alone, you've got complete freedom, so every morning I wake up and get out of my tent and I can go wherever I want. So I've got no destination, I can stop off and do whatever I like, and there's no one to try and, you've got to try and please someone else. You just do whatever you like, so I can stop when I like, set off when I like, I can travel at my own pace, which is great because I'm not the best rider, so if I was with someone else, I might try and ride faster to try and keep up with them, or vice versa. So it's honestly amazing, and I feel like when you're by yourself, you're more vulnerable and they would take more pity on you, and sort of you're more approachable. So for example, if I'm riding along, I'll stop for some fuel or for some water or something, I'll be off the bike for a few seconds, and then within seconds I'll be surrounded by people wanting to give me chai tea or give me food or invite me to their house, or invite me to a wedding or whatever. So many things happen when you're on the road. And I feel like if you're with someone else, maybe they wouldn't approach you because they'd see you're with someone else and having a conversation, they don't want to interrupt. Whereas when you're by yourself, you're clearly alone, you're not talking to anyone. So they come up to you more, which is amazing. But then obviously on the downsides of that, it does mean you are more vulnerable. So people might take advantage of you and maybe try and steal from you your bike or attack you or whatever. But I found that's never been the case, because all in all, people are good people. No one wants to steal from you. People see the bike and they want to hear your stories and chat with you, which is amazing. So being alone is great in that way, as you're so much more approachable and you have so many more amazing experiences. I mean, for example, when I was in Italy and then I got an invite to a house in Germany, if I was with someone else, they might have said, no, let's not do that, let's continue heading east, because I was heading for Istanbul in Turkey. But because I was by myself, I had no plan or anything, I was able to just turn around and head north back the way I'd come to stay with this guy who got in touch with me in social media. And if I'd been with someone else, maybe people wouldn't have hosted as much, because I could stay on the couch of people's houses or in a spare bed. But if there's two of you, there's more people to try and feed, more people to try and to host in that house. So being alone was just amazing. It was so great. But then again, the disadvantage is you can get lonely sometimes. For example, when I was riding along all day, I had my music on in my helmet, and that's what I listened to all day. But if you're someone else, you can talk to someone on an intercom, and they'll keep you going. And so if you're having a bad day and you're feeling down and you're cold, wet, you're hungry or whatever, you need a bit of a boost, then having someone with you can help you out, and encourage you. And then sure enough, when they're down, you can then encourage them and get them up again. And then obviously if you break down and you're by yourself, luckily my Honda never broke down, because this is my Triumph Bonneville, it's my new bike. The bike I'm doing the trip on is a Honda CRF 250, and it actually never broke down. But if it had broke down, I would have been screwed because there would be no one around. I'd have to rely on the kindness of strangers. But yeah, I bought this while I'm in London waiting for the world to reopen in this pandemic. I treated myself to this my dream bike, the Triumph Bonneville. I've always wanted one since I was a kid, since I saw The Great Escape, and I finally bought my dream bike. But this isn't the bike I'm doing the trip on. But yeah, so having someone else can be good in that way. But also, I feel like I think I had a problem with the fuel tank on my Honda in the middle of the Iranian desert. It was so hot that the fuel seal was melted, and I was by myself and had to get it sorted out. And because I was by myself, it actually was quite an exciting adventure. If I'd been with someone else, maybe it wouldn't have been as fun. And I actually ended up staying with the mechanic who sorted me out. I stayed with him and his family and had the most amazing time with him. So it was really awesome. But obviously, carrying gear, with the two of you, you can split the parts between you. If you're on the same bike, you can split the parts. Even camping gear, electronics, and all that stuff, you can split between the two bikes. Whereas for me, I've got to have everything on one bike in my panniers and my top box. And obviously, I'm quite short for space. And at one point, when I was in Azerbaijan, I actually got rid of my sleeping bag, which was really stupid. Because I thought, that's too much space, I don't need it anymore. Got rid of the sleeping bag, ditched it. The next day, I was up in the mountains, freezing because it was so cold, with no sleeping bag, thinking what an idiot I am. So if I'd been with someone else, I could have maybe split the camping gear between us. But yeah, so obviously there are some pros to being with someone else, but all in all, being by yourself is just amazing. And actually, I met loads of solo female travelers as well on the road. I didn't meet any bikers, but I met solo female cyclists. And they said the same thing as they had the same stories as I did, if not even more, because being a solo female, people always say, oh, you're crazy traveling as a solo female. You get attacked or robbed or taken advantage of, but actually people see you and they want to look after you. They want to make you feel safe in their country and they welcome you in. So all the female solo cyclists that I met all had similar stories to me and they all absolutely loved it. So honestly, if you're watching this and you're thinking of doing a trip and you're worried about doing a trip solo and you're looking for someone to go with you but no one wants to join you, don't hesitate, just go by yourself. You'll have the most amazing experience. Being alone, you have so many great moments. It's just awesome. I mean, there was one time when I was in south of France and I met up with a friend of mine at the very beginning of my trip who I'd travelled with in like 3 years before in South America. He was a solo male cyclist and we wild camped together and he showed me how to wild camp. So I'd done it before and had the most amazing experience with him. And that was really fun actually, I have to admit, it was really nice to wild camp at the end of the day and have beers around the fire and cook food together and whatnot. That was really awesome. And I have to admit, after that, when I was wild camping, it was never as fun after that. It was always quite boring and whatnot. But until I got to sort of South Asia and headed east, because then you're constantly bombarded by people all day. You're surrounded by people who want to talk and say hi, which is an amazing thing. But often by the end of the day, you just want to relax. So in that way, it was quite nice being alone. I could just gather my thoughts and do my thing. And then if you're filming your adventure, and you're solo, it's very difficult. You've got to have your tripod, you've got to set your tripod up, put the camera on, ride past the shot, then go back, pick up the tripod and continue traveling. And it's quite hard. If you're with someone else, it's a lot easier to film your adventure. But then not everyone likes to film their adventure. Some people just like to go and do it. Whereas I was filming it for my family back home so they could see what I was up to. But yeah, all in all, being alone on the bike is just absolutely amazing. I would not change it for the world. It's been amazing. But yeah, so that's it. So yeah, just get out there, and if you're a solo traveler and you can't find anyone else, just go and do it and you'll have the most amazing time. Ride safe. Ciao, ciao, ciao.
Hi, we're Travis and Chantil of ViajarMoto, and we are in the beautiful mountains of Montenegro.
And today we're going to talk about the advantages and disadvantages of riding two people on two different motorcycles.
All right, one advantage of having two motorcycles is you can pack more stuff. I mean, it's not easy to pack all the things that you want on a motorcycle because you have limited space, but two motorcycles definitely makes it easier. We can pack all of our personal items.
And what about camping? We can have a nice comfy bed because we can have a thick air mattress.
That's true. We do have a 4-inch air mattress that we carry, and that would be a whole lot harder to do. There's no way we could carry two of those air mattresses on one motorcycle.
No, we couldn't.
Yeah, there wouldn't be enough room. So another advantage is that we have the same motorcycle, so we can share the same parts between each of the bikes, and we don't have to carry those same parts for both motorcycles. So I carry all the parts and fluid on my motorcycle,
and it allows me to carry all the food that we need for our boat.
So between the two of us, we can kind of share the amount of stuff we carry.
Yeah.
Another advantage is that sometimes you break down, and
it happens.
And even in the, I can't imagine, like, it must be a seriously bad luck case if we had both motorcycles break down.
Exactly.
Like, we would have a pretty terrible day if that were the case. So in most cases, one motorcycle should be operational, and you could go for help or go for parts. You want to share some stories where you were able to help me?
Yeah, actually, I towed him 23 kilometers in Iceland.
Yeah. So my
He was grateful to have it.
yeah, I needed the sprocket was welded to the drive shaft, and the weld broke.
Yeah.
So then we actually had to get it towed. So Chantil towed me to the welder, and we got it fixed. So that was nice. We couldn't have done that.
Good story, huh?
We would have had to rely on some other locals or something to help us.
Yeah.
In addition, you had to get your motorcycle to a dealer for like a week long of maintenance.
I know.
Took a while to get the parts.
Yeah. So Travis was able to still take me around.
Yeah, we rode 2 up for a while and still did errands and were able to explore and have some fun still.
Our next advantage is safety. Safety in numbers.
Yeah, I think there really is safety in numbers, especially with just the 2 of us.
Yeah.
I think being a single woman, you might be concerned. I know there's many women that are riding motorcycles around the world right now, and safety isn't a huge issue for them. But again, I think there's something to be said about 2 motorcycles being more safe. Maybe not so people taking advantage of you, but more so when you're on the trail and something bad happens. Because as we know, when you're on a motorcycle, bad things can happen really quickly.
Yeah.
And having another person that's on a motorcycle that can go get help, or maybe worst case, put you on the motorcycle if you break something and take you to the hospital, or
even slow you down when you think you want to do something crazy.
yeah. So Chantil touched on something that is actually really good for me, because I tend to ride more responsible and slower when I'm with her. So this is true. I like it.
Yeah, and also safety and visibility when we're on the freeways and roads, because there's 2 of us, and so there's 2 different headlights and there are 2 different taillights. So I think it's safer that way too.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think one of the biggest advantages is that 2 motorcycles is more fun. See? She's having lots of fun.
A lot more fun when you have your own bike.
Another advantage of going two people on 2 motorcycles is that you always have your buddy with you.
Your buddy.
So it's nice to share moments together. It's nice to share a sunset or share a meal together, or all those things you can share that make life better with somebody else. You're doing it with somebody you enjoy.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, now we're going to talk about disadvantages. So a minor disadvantage is, I think, that people probably don't come up to you as much. When you're 2 people, people kind of just leave you alone.
Yeah.
Kind of the safety thing that we're talking about, but it also is a disadvantage because people just won't, I don't come up and associate with you as much.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely as a couple, you have to work harder if you want
Find
to
people.
interact with the locals.
Yep.
So that's one minor disadvantage. The biggest disadvantage of owning 2 motorcycles is they cost a lot more.
They cost
So
a lot more.
you pay more for 2 motorcycles, you pay more for gas, you pay more for ferries, you pay more for maintenance. Yeah, they definitely cost more money. Gone.
Gone. Now that covers advantages and disadvantages of how we ride.
Yeah, let's go explore those abandoned fortresses now.
Yeah.
I want to thank everyone for watching this video.
And obviously there's no wrong way or best way to do it. It just comes down to basically your comfort level, your partner's experience in riding. You know, as long as you're out there on the journey, you've made the correct decision. Alrighty guys, peace.
Bye.
Bye.